Okay, so welcome to part two. This is going to cover gay marriage, and this is a really hot topic right now. It's still being worked on in Congress and with the GLBTQ community, along with advocates who are not involved in that community but want to see rights being distributed to everyone. So to start, basically there are a few states who actually have legalized gay marriage. Those would be, I'm going to read them off of my notes, Connecticut, Iowa, Massachusetts, Maryland, New Hampshire, New York, Vermont, Washington, and Washington, D.C. So there are some steps in America that are going in the right direction. There's also other countries who have legalized gay marriage, such as the Netherlands, Belgium, Canada, Spain, South Africa, Norway, Sweden, and Argentina, Iceland, and Portugal. So those are maybe some countries to look to when implementing some of our own policy or amendments. And then we also have Mexico and Brazil, which have patchwork laws, which is similar to America. Basically, some areas have legalized gay marriage and others have not. Oddly enough, in New Mexico, even though they haven't legalized gay marriage, they actually do recognize foreign gay marriages. And then also military chaplains, this is a step in the right direction in my opinion. Military chaplains are actually allowed to marry gay couples now, even in an area of our society which is notoriously conservative. So let's take a look at what people usually define marriage as and what it has seemed to be. Basically, traditional marriage, as far as Christianity is concerned, is obviously between a man and a woman, regarding the Bible's conception of it, and it's supposed to be a lifelong contract that you're entering into, and it's obviously associated with God. They do, however, acknowledge secular relationships and marriages, although they have not yet seemed to acknowledge gay marriage. Is, on the whole, I'm sure there are individuals who are who identify as Christian who acknowledge gay marriage as being acceptable. It's interesting because when you think of traditional marriage, it's obviously not just Christianity that you can associate with marriage, and there's modern and ancient examples of many different types of marriages. You have family structure that includes polygamy, communal child rearing, similar as with Native Americans, and concubinal arrangements. You also have mistresses involved. That was seen a lot in the Mexican Revolution. And then obviously monogamy is, another component of traditional marriages. Now, gay marriage should be protected by the Constitution's commitment to liberty and equality. And actually, in Cleveland Board of Education versus LaFleur, and this is in 1974, it was stated that freedom of personal choice in matter of marriage and family life is one of the liberties protected by the Due Process Clause. Now, the Due Process Clause is actually seen as a really effective tool in obtaining the rights for gay marriage because, and I'm going to read this, it says the Due Process Clause states that states may not deprive persons of life, liberty, and that's the important part for gay marriage, or property without due process of law. So basically, essentially, marriage is seen as an obvious civil liberty, and so they have to really scrutinize cases when it comes to determining if that's being upheld when they continually ban gay marriage. And now, due process was actually the avenue that was taken when it came to interracial marriages, who fought a similar battle when it came to getting legal rights to be married. So this brings us to the discussion of Perry versus Schwarzenegger, which was a case that was against Prop 8, which overturned the legalization of gay marriage, basically on the grounds of child rearing, harm to homosexual marriage, and the status of relationships. And so basically the court case was won, calling Proposition 8 unconstitutional, and it stated that the ability or desire to create offspring has never been a qualification of marriage in the past. So Prop 8 shouldn't have that as part of its grounds for calling gay marriage wrong. And then also, so basically, they called it unconstitutional under due process and under the equal protection clauses in the Constitution. And it was actually upheld in district courts, and now it's headed to en banc review. Now, this court case came out of frustrations involved with individuals not being allowed to marry solely on based on their sexual preference. And there are a lot of issues with gay marriage not being legalized. I mean, first of all, it basically stigmatizes their class as being inferior to homosexual individuals because they're not allowed to get married. So they don't have the same rights, making them inferior, as I just stated. And it basically legalizes discrimination against them, which sends a message to society that that's okay. It also creates problems with gay adoption, and I'll get to more about gay adoption a little bit later, but just to give a brief synopsis really quickly, no marriage, I mean, a couple trying to adopt a child without being married makes the adoption process much more difficult, whether you're straight or gay. So eliminating the ability to get married automatically makes it harder for gay couples to adopt a child. And then there are other benefits, obviously, associated with medical care, employer benefits, things like that, that are just completely outright not offered because gay marriage is not legalized on the federal level. I mean, individual states legalize it, but other states don't even have to acknowledge that, which is part of the Defense of Marriage Act, which I will also get to a little bit later. There are a lot of benefits to gay marriage, not even just for the individual, but also for the government. Gay marriage brings revenue gain to state and local governments. This comes from marriage licenses. Also, when you're filing together on your taxes, which you can only do if you're married, basically your income is higher, so you're going to get taxed greater. And I was actually talking to a classmate of mine, one of my peers, who has been with her partner for 6 years. It's two women who are together, and they file separately. And although they would like to see gay marriage, even though they would be, paying more money, they do get a break on their taxes because they're filing separately. So, I mean, the right political move would be to just allow gay marriage, and the government would be benefiting financially from that. There also be decreases in costs for the state benefit programs. And actually, the New York City Comptroller stated that gay marriage would bring $142 million to city economy and $184 million in state economy just over 3 years. So, I mean, that's pretty compelling evidence that allowing gay individuals to get married would be beneficial.